Hello, everyone in the cosmos. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
Great. Who was that on the speaker? Was that Sasha?
It's me. It's Melissa.
Yeah. Was that Melissa? Great,
Yes.
Melissa. Yeah, no, we can hear you clearly, and thank you for your lovely voice. Excellent. So, for some reason, here at the podium, certain things that aren't supposed to work are working, which is always a pleasant surprise. Okay, we're going to start momentarily, gentlemen. Can one of you just close the doors, please, and um, lock down the hatches? Can someone shut the doors, or one of them give Kiki a hand, and we will start. We're just going to get everything. Well, actually, I'm wondering maybe we'll leave a couple open. Okay, why not? Let's see if it's um, online right now, folks. We can leave one open. Let's just see if it's disturbing. Melissa, can you hear the noise from outside the atrium now? Is it distracting?
Not really.
Okay, so we'll just leave it. We'll leave a door open in case people want to drift in. That's fine. And we have good. The blinds are where they should be. Let me just check my notes. Here comes our guest. Is it no, you're not officially in the class, right? But you come. That's great. Yeah, you're always welcome. I just wanted to make sure who is on my list and who isn't. But the class is always open, and if somebody wanted to just come through the doors right now and join the class, they're welcome to as well. Let me just see where we are at before I officially begin. I just want to check my lesson plan and see. Good. Yes, she is Sasha. She's right here with Noah. They're in their spot. You can see in the chat. Good. So Sasha's in the cosmos today. Excellent. Okay. Welcome everyone to Humanity's Destiny, our seventh class of the semester. We are just about to head into midterm reading week break next week. And I hope that all of you have sent in your first assignments that were due last night by 11:59, and I know that nobody will tell me the truth, but I will simply say I hope nobody was panicking at 11:55 or 11:56 and just went to the pizza shop and ordered the pizza and just sent in, let's give Lon the mushrooms, the garlic, the nice crust, and let's just send him the pizza at 11:59. Chat GPT being the pizza shop, you know how easy it is to just go over to that AI and order the pizza and say, well, Lon, he kind of likes it with some pepperoni, maybe some pineapple, I don't know, little anchovy here and there, and he likes the pizza delivered at 11:59 p.m. But I hope you didn't do that. But I'll have to be the judge of it when I read your first assignment. I don't think so, but you never know. There's always the odd panicking student that will do that. If you do get into a panic situation, please always just shoot me an email and say you need an extension, and I can give you one because you have one extension for the whole semester, and you might have needed it for this time. But or if you find yourself in a panic situation in general, not getting things done, and you're relying on Grammarly and the machines to do the work for you, please shoot me an email and I will help you with time management. Okay, but just don't get in the habit of using your machine to do the work for you. Great. Okay. So why don't we, before we get going, we should get the names up on the board and pick a note taker as well. I've already started the board here, and I know I have some default students over here, one of whom isn't even officially registered, but just comes because he's interested, which is great. So he's over here with Kiki. Uh, I can always rely on Sasha to do some notes, but she took notes this morning in Global Leader, and she's in the Cosmos right now. So who? Here we go. who who likes to form letters? You know, you form an A and a B and a C, and you kind of understand that in that forming of the letters there is some real power. It's called the human word. The human word is the power that orders our chaos. This comes from Northrop Frye, one of our great literary critics at the University of Toronto many years ago. The human word is the power that orders our chaos. Hmm. Well, how about over, Hamza, you've done the notes before, haven't you? But let's not get too defaulty. Let's try, how about, have you done the notes? How's your writing, your handwriting? So? Huh. Have you lost the ability to write by hand because you're on the machine a lot? Yeah, this is a problem. Okay. Um, who you've defaulted before, but is it Daniel? No. Uh, oh, that's no kayak. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, Kiki's going to go put it. Noah, will you do the notes? Yeah. Could you? Yeah. Great. Thanks, Noah. So you get your 5 out of 5 right there. Although I'll tell you how you don't need to do a discussion post this week. Nobody does. This would be your 5 out of 5 for discussion post 7. That is after the break. Okay. So I will explain. So you get your marks. So Noah is going to go do the notes. Excellent. Could you please put your names before you go, all of you? Mr. Corleone, Michael Corleone from The Godfather, over there. The Don Corleone, The Godfather. Marlon, don't forget to put your name up there, okay? Way to go. Okay. The Godfather is a great. Have you seen them? Yeah. Marlon Brando, Diane Keaton, who plays the wife of Michael Corleone. She just died. She is a really good actor. If you want to see a great actor. Okay. So what else? So while we're going on board there, let's go on board into the live chat and please put your names. Yeah, that's okay, Sasha. We know you're all note taker out. Make sure you put your full names in the live chat, everybody, so I can take proper attendance later. And we have that going. We've got Noah on the notes. Excellent. So let me just check my lesson plan here and make sure that I've covered a few things. Okay, so today, what we want to do, I'm just going to describe what we're going to do, and then we will do a little bit of reviewing with some of the discussion posts that were quite well written. Discussion post 6. I'd like to read some out loud, particularly the ones that relate to visionaries. Because today our job is to actually pick one visionary that we think is somebody we really need to drill down on and understand his or her ideas more. And then we're going to do that together. So we started that last week, if you remember, and we had some names, including Aldous Huxley of the great Brave New World novel, but there are many, many others that we can choose, and we're going to finalize that list today and then start to make our choice. And in terms of what's coming, well, of course, you know that next week is reading week, so I won't see you next week. I'll see you in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks from today, you do not have a discussion post at all to do today, including those of you watching synchronously right now in the Cosmos. You don't need to do anything. And then all of you watching asynchronously, you don't need to do anything. That's going to come after the break, the 7th discussion post. So you have for your midterm mark that's coming next Tuesday, 6 discussion posts plus your first assignment. And that totals 30% of your final grade. So that's what you're going to be receiving a midterm grade for next week. 6 discussion posts. Each of them is worth 2.5%. You multiply that by 6, you get 15%, and then you add the 15% for the first assignment, and you get your 30%. Okay, so you don't need to do anything, and Noah's 5 out of 5 for doing the note state will be applied to his 7th that comes after the break. Okay, so I just want to get that cleared up. And do you have any questions? I just have one or two other things just to discuss about the class today and what lies ahead. But I want to just check in and see if any of you have any questions. Things are looking good in the cosmos. We have, I'm going to need my glasses. I'm getting better at just staying here. 8 people in the cosmos. Excellent. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people in person. So we've got enough to fly this this classroom into orbit and join the International Space Station right now, which is live and is moving over the North Pacific right now as I speak. You see it behind me, this great piece of technology that I think is going to be decommissioned in the next year or two, I've heard. We may not have it any longer. But there we are right now, moving at 7.6634 kilometers per second. Get that into your mind, how fast that is. We are at 423 kilometers going into the sky, and we see our coordinates there as well. Is it Hassan? Ibrahim, yes. It's a good question. I'm glad you were listening. I don't know exactly, but it seems to be that the countries that fund it and have cosmonauts up there, the US, Russia, Canada, are pulling back from that type of research, and they're going to be putting their money into other space programs. That has at least has been mentioned. I don't know if it's going to actually happen, but there has been some serious talk that the International Space Station will be decommissioned, which would be a great shame. But it's just part of the way the world is these days. So many changes. Noah, want to say something? No, it'll be brought back. The actual object, the structure will be brought back, will be flown, or probably it may even be part of a payload on something else that gets brought back, put on a rocket ship that's brought back to Earth, or maybe no one knows. I believe they're going to try to aim it near Point Nemo and just let it burn up in the atmosphere. Just let it burn up in the atmosphere. Yeah. Something like that would probably be impossible to bring back without wasting dollars. That makes sense. Yeah, exactly. That's your thinking, Kiki, about all sorts of consequences. As a matter of fact, it's a very interesting topic that we will explore at the second half of the semester on sustainability. You might think that computers and cell phones and all these devices represent some sort of progressive step for humanity. In a way, they do. But you know what goes into making the minerals that go into making cell phones and computers, the amount of extraction that has to happen for the lithium? Just recently, this is an amazing fact. I was just watching a really interesting lecture by a professor last night, a Canadian professor teaching at Cornell University right now in the US, the same university that Carl Sagan, the great Carl Sagan, went to. This professor's name is Stephen Jackson, by the way. He's a professor of information science there, and he's also their vice provost of innovation. And he's done a lot of research on what he calls computing on Earth. He said something really interesting that I and my wife, as we were watching this, had to stop and really think about. He said he was recently at a mining conference, a global mining conference, mining industry, and it was held in Toronto. He said there were about 30,000 mining industry officials from all over the world there. He said he'd never been at such a conference in his life, so big. And he said the atmosphere, as he put it, these are his words, it was giddy. Like people were excited because they see that the mining industry around the world, especially in Canada, is starting to see amazing opportunities for growth because of all the minerals that have to be extracted to create your cell phones and the coming AI and all sorts of other things. And so actually, I never quite thought of it this way. If we don't get a handle on waste, e-waste, and e-production, the computing industry is on its way to being far dirtier than the oil industry. This is interesting. And then my wife and I were talking about this, and I said to her, you know what? I don't think the tech entrepreneurs care one iota, like this, the big guys, about the environment. They just care about the next application and the new tech. But all the big tech guys, from Sam Altman at OpenAI, Elon Musk, Google, Mark Zuckerberg, and with Meta, and they're all in Trump's team now. It's all about extraction. It's not about sustainability. And so I never thought that the question could be asked, are we heading into a future possibly where the waste and the extraction from computers could be worse than what we've had with other industries that we thought were very dirty, like oil, petroleum? Had you ever quite thought of it that way? It's a fact. The mining industry knows they're onto something. Yes. Fascinating. Yeah.
There is a city in China called Guiyu where most of the world's old cell phones and old computers go to die. Most of the waste is stored by children, and this is these people's livelihood.
The health effects. For example, I'll prepare. I'm going to prepare a kind of an updated lecture after the break because I'm going to be doing a whole thing on sustaining it and sustainability and where we're going. And I'm going to add this to it because I think this is fascinating information. Okay, so gentlemen at the back, are you guys? Are you with us? Are you sure? Because if you want, it's okay. You can stay. I just won't direct things to you, okay? But are you your mind here or your mind somewhere else? Okay, you're here. Good. Okay, I just want to make sure whose brain is here and whose brain is somewhere else. Okay, great. So what we need to do today, which I will get to in a moment, is about picking our visionary. But I just want to tell you about something else that's coming in the second half of the semester. Please make a note of this, or just at least remember this. On Wednesday, November the 19th, for our global leader class in the morning, we're having a kind of big campus-wide event for Global Entrepreneur Week, and there'll be 4 graduates of Durham College that will be joining us here live, and some coming in on the big board, which will be fixed because the strike is over, by the way. So I'm going to have tech support, hopefully, back. And that's going to be open to the whole campus. So if you're interested, November the 19th, you can join us for the Global Leader class that morning. And if you would like to, then you don't have to come to the class in the afternoon for Humanities Destiny, or you can come to both. It's up to you. But you'll meet some very interesting, forward-looking Durham College graduates who are becoming established in their fields, demonstrating leadership. And some of them are even visionaries in terms of what they're achieving. And we were going to have a lot of people in this room as well as online and on the board. So November the 19th, I'll tell you more about that in the second half of the semester. What else? Well, let's start the class, okay, officially in terms of the content. So what I'd like to do is just bring up here and make sure I've got that going so I can always see in case we crash on YouTube. This is the critical number here. If this stops, I know we've crashed, but it's moving, so that gets my recording. But let me put up the map, because that's always important. Is I like to talk about largely human civilization in this class, but there are always two things going in this class. There's nature, which you can think of as the view from the International Space Station going around. We don't see humans from that view. We don't see civilization. All we see is water and land and a planet. That's nature. That's the planet. But then we come to the map, and then we see the humans on planet Earth, and we see what they've done here, which is they have the global civilization, and it's all over, and it's all split up into about 200 countries. But that's important. That kind of sense always as you come into humanity's destiny. There's nature and there's civilization. And you all are living through, including me and your children and your great-grandchildren and others, you are all living at the time in history where nature and human civilization are starting to come together and collide. And the reason is because humans are becoming more machine-like, and because nature is also being changed by humans. And so that's why you're in, ultimately, humanity's destiny, this class. Yes, because you want a good mark, and you want a fun class and an easy class in terms of work. But if you really want to benefit from this class and do the deep thinking, then this is the big idea that's hanging over all of us right now, which is, what are we humans going to be doing? What kind of world are we building on this planet when we have created such powerful machines that we are changing so much, so fast? Are you ready for this? Let me just be clear. This is not hype. I know this because I teach history. There has never been a moment in history when the creatures on this planet have created tools for their own culture that they're using to change nature. And if you aren't waking up to that fact yet, I hope you will in this class, and I hope I will see some really deep thinking about these big questions in your assignments, particularly your final assignment at the end of the semester, where you're going to have a real chance to show off your research and your thinking. And what you've been doing so far with the discussion posts and the first assignment, that's nice and that's good, but that's not the big stuff yet. That's coming in the second half. So that's why I need your attention, and I want to make sure you understand. So I would just say, finally, before we get going with our teams and everything, is to try and remember that your professor, when he presents you with this moment in history that we're at, does believe that we are at a time when we can augment our intelligence and become better. But some might call that naive right now. We have to be careful that we do not create a mechanical human. You have to be careful that you don't do what some young people are doing right now. And maybe I'm getting a little carried away, but I'm just going to put this out there, then I'll stop. Do you know that 6 and 7-year-olds right now are going to ChatGPT as a therapist? What they do is they take ChatGPT and they enter how they're feeling. They rant. And they wait for ChatGPT to tell them if what they're feeling is good or bad. They're becoming very close and thinking that that thing that's answering is like them. They don't understand that it's not real. It's just algorithms. It's just regurgitating stuff, but they think it's almost human. Parents, you as parents, if you become parents, are going to be faced with this dilemma. When do I allow my child to start using artificial intelligence? How will I guide my child in how to use it? What if my child disappears into his or her bedroom when they come home from school? And then one day I open the door and my child is dead, has killed himself, herself, because ChatGPT has said, yeah, you would be better dead. This is happening. These kinds of things. And so I believe these are powerful, powerful, amazing tools. But if you don't know how to use them, we've got to be careful. Very, very careful. So let me stop for a moment and just remind ourselves of where we were last week when we were talking about visionaries. Do you remember any from last week that we would just like to review for a moment before I go into the cosmos, or even pull up the notes from last week? Because I have them right here in the doc, but I just want to check. Does anybody remember, have a choice from last week, a visionary that they thought was really a cool person to be looking at, who seems to have their finger on something about our future? Anybody online want to jump in and say this before I go over to the notes and take a look at what was put down in the notes? And I think I can display this properly for everybody so it doesn't overlap. Yeah. Here we go. Last week, Kiki and Sasha took these notes and we made some beginning of a list. David Suzuki, Jordan Peele, Matthew Patrick, our professor. Thank you, Zubir. We're all going to be visionaries by the end of this class, with me, hopefully. Aldous Huxley, Dan Hauser. Okay. Is there anybody else that we might add to this list for the moment before we start to talk about these people more in detail? Greta Thunberg? I want visionary, not activist. I want Tharson. That's more of a political activist, and she's also now shifted her activism from climate change over to war. So I'm not sure anymore what she represents. She's just an activist, which is good. And she's an amazing person. She's overcome her or dealt with her autism, and she's really helped the world understand some things. But I would not put Greta Thunberg as a visionary. She's not a big or deep enough thinker.
Autism isn't really something you overcome. It's just something you kind of live with.
I caught myself there. I didn't mean to say overcome. I wanted to say it's something she's. You're right, Kiki, and I shouldn't have said overcome. Yeah. What I meant to say is that she's learned how to deal with something that is difficult, and she's turned it into something that is really powerful, I guess. Okay. But I would never say something like that, because in my view, everyone has their own struggle with something in their life that they have to deal with. That's sort of hard, different. But maybe you could teach me something, Kiki. Okay. So what kinds of visionary do we want? Well, let's look at your discussion posts. There were 2 or 3 of them from last week where the students were defining what a visionary is. And I thought they were really well done. And so I'm going to bring up those discussion posts. But let's make sure we understand. I've just said, just for the sake of our discussion, that I do not consider Greta Thunberg a visionary in the way that I'm trying to bring this to the class, which is somebody who's who's spoken about, possibly written about, but has communicated a vision for humanity that is something that will be taking us in a direction where all people on this planet will be able to pursue a better future, but that they will also have to deal with challenges at the same time. A visionary who's imagining something about a particular field, like transportation or energy, and is seeing solutions to problems that are new and creative. But let's get a further definition, okay, from what some of you have been writing, because we need to get a better list going of visionaries. Right now, this is just very introductory. So here what I've done is I've isolated from the discussion posts last week. And I'm just going to scroll here and go to the bottom to start there. Julian Supers is Julian's not in the in-person group today, but was here last week. So Julian just did one question, which was fascinating. Of course, that's all he had to do, one question. And here was Julian's question. The first question at the beginning of the discussion post. Question: is it possible that artificial intelligence becomes a visionary in the future? Now, could you do me a favor, Noah, and take that question and write it in big letters on this board, okay? Really big so we can see it. Is it possible that artificial intelligence, so make the I from one line to the next line. So yeah, make your I, there we go. Make the S big too, and just write the whole question in that size, okay? Is it possible that artificial intelligence becomes a visionary in the future? I'd like you to think about this. Yes, Ibrahim.
From which does that critical thinking? Is it deciding on its own, or is it getting information from other people?
Well, I think I can answer that partly for you with some interesting research that we know about. For the moment, AI is only as good as the information that humans put into it. But I can tell you this for a fact. This is very, very cutting edge, but very real and very kind of uncomfortable. Geoffrey Hinton is the University of Toronto computer scientist who just won the Nobel Prize last year for being the godfather of AI. You've probably seen him online all over. He's just in Toronto, there's a professor in the computer science department named Geoffrey Hinton. He, in the 1960s and the 1970s, began to create the model for artificial intelligence, and he just won in 2024 the Nobel Prize, the highest award for new thinking in science and culture, for his invention of the AI model. That's a big, big deal, what he won. In a recent interview, he said something so fascinating, I'm still trying to grasp it. He said the reason that he is now warning people so much about AI, in the same way that Robert Oppenheimer warned people about the atomic bomb after he created, as a physicist, what became the Manhattan Project and the bomb that was dropped in Japan, and that's Robert Oppenheimer. He was the creator of the technology and to some extent the science, along with Albert Einstein, that led to the atomic bomb. Robert Oppenheimer then, after it was dropped to end the Second World War, he was a hero in the United States for helping the United States win the war because he developed the atomic bomb. It was dropped on Japan, end of the Second World War, at least in Japan. But then he became an enemy of the United States because he went on a lecture circuit afterwards and he tried to tell people this technology is dangerous. Very dangerous. Geoffrey Hinton has been doing the same thing about AI. He said recently that he has seen AI models. He used to be, before he became a full-time professor, he was a senior engineer at Google as well. So this guy is plugged in. He said, I've seen AIs, the really sophisticated learning machine, the self-learning, machine learning, they start to solve problems consciously without referring to the information that is put in it by humans. In other words, the AI, because of the way the algorithm has been written, is starting to think on its own. I don't fully understand this. But what he said, Ibrahim, is, I want people to know that this technology that I've created, and I'm not making this stuff up, this is real. It's not conspiracy theory. You can listen to him. He won the Nobel Prize for this. He said, I've seen the latest technology, and you can give it a problem, and you don't have to have it refer to any information that's been entered into it by humans. It will begin without any access to the internet, without any access to data. It will begin to think. Well, think about that. I don't fully understand how an AI can give you a solution without being connected to the internet, because it needs that data. He said it can. I think that's, I want to find out more about it. But does anybody, can you wrap your mind around that? Any of the students here figure out what's in the algorithm or how that would be possible, that this device, this machine has learned so well from having access to the internet and all that data that now when you remove that data, it can think. Kiki, do you want to try?
It's possible, but you would need a lot, like a lot of storage.
A lot of data
A
storage.
lot of data storage.
Yeah.
You would probably have to
That's right.
Connect to the internet every once in a while to update what it knows.
So it's
Similar
about
to humans.
it's about data processing.
It is ultimately about data processing, and if it has enough data on hand, it could realistically do its language learning model job without being connected to the internet. But it would need to connect to the internet every once in a while, and it would need more more petabytes than are commercially produced.
Well, guess what? Quantum computing is coming. And quantum computing could handle that amount of data very, very easily and very quickly. Anyways, Noah?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if did AI come up with like a genuine strategy that makes sense?
Apparently, it was offering credible solutions without having access the internet or data. It was somehow through its own memory. I can't say anything more because I don't know. But Geoffrey Hinton is a really important person to be listening to today. Ibrahim?
Is this problem a social problem or like a mathematical science problem?
Which problem?
A social problem like governments, the economy, people, or was it things based on math and science?
Well, there's a mathematical challenge that a computer scientist will encounter in having to create the algorithm or the equations that can run the AI. That's a technical challenge. But then when it works, it introduces all sorts of social and problems for society and how we're going to deal with this new powerful machine. I don't know if that answers your question. Try again.
Humans are unpredictable.
Yes.
Things that are not logical.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And when we like discover, like when we want to observe the weight of how much weight does gravity bring down, like 9.81 meters a second square, we can observe that through math.
Yes. Yes.
So we can predict all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
if we give the necessary information.
Yes. So the predictive power of AI is staggering in terms of its ability to be able to process a lot of data and give a logical, reasonable solution. You know, I'm going to stop for a second. I want to let all of you think in teams. You're asking some great questions, and I want to come back to what I really want to do today. But we can bring this in to this is pick the visionary and understand what a visionary is. So I just want to continue with the discussion post, okay? To give you and then we're going to go into the groups for a second. All right. So here is Ruben Lawrence. Ruben is in the asynchronous part of the class, so he's in a distant solar system for the class, but he's still listening and watching. And he said this: my question that I want to ask is, what does it truly mean to be a visionary? When I was watching the recording, that is the one question that was going through my head constantly. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the definition of visionary is, especially of a person, thinking about or planning the future with imagination or wisdom. Now, for me, when I think of a visionary, I think of someone who has a creative mind and does not limit themselves to societal norms. They do not just accept the world as it is, but they envision what it could be. Visionaries are people who can see possibilities beyond the present moment. They do this all while inspiring others to move towards that future. There are visionaries all around the world that I can think of. They are Martin Luther King Jr., Elon Musk, Nikola Tesla, Nelson Mandela, Maya Angelou, and so many more. These are only a few examples. Visionaries exist in science, technology, art, sports, business, really anything. The importance of visionaries in human society is huge, as they push humanity forward by creating ideas that at first seemed impossible, but eventually shape the future. Some things that I take a big interest in is fashion, in clothing, in sports. In fashion, I would call Virgil Abloh a true visionary. I think that's how you pronounce his name, as he founded the Off-White brand. In sports, I would say Michael Jordan as well. Okay, that's one way of thinking about a visionary. I think there was one other attempt at this. Sejal Rajic. Is he live with us today? I don't think so. What are the responsibilities that visionary leaders have towards shaping a better world? Visionary leaders are those who carry the whole society on their shoulders and pull it upwards, not only by their ideas, but also with their ethics, action, and real life inspiration. They have the power to change people's minds, to determine their ways of working, and even lifestyles. Thus, they possess not only enormous power, but also great responsibility. Guys, are you disappearing? I know, Ibrahim, I think you're checking. Are you with us? Okay, focus, okay? Otherwise, what am I teaching to? I'm just teaching to students who don't really want to be here, but they're online. Okay, so if you want to disappear into cyberspace, you can do that outside. But if you come in here, be with the other humans. Do you see how you're not in a human world right now? This, the hoodie up, focused, is the new human. It's not really human. You're not really human right now. You are in sort of a world where you are isolated. You've disappeared, and you have your hood up, meaning don't talk to me. I do that. I put my hoodie on when I don't want somebody to talk to me. Think about it. Think about how often in the day you might do that, and you might start to realize that you are becoming the new human, which is not really human. It's part machine. Okay. Focus. Human. In person. Okay. Creating a purpose beyond profit or power. Visionary leaders will at the same time make sure that their aims will benefit people, not just organizations. Their vision will not only cover the areas of poverty, inequality, climate change, maybe Greta Thunberg is, and injustice, but also fairness, sustainability, and human dignity as key considerations for all. Human dignity is a very powerful thing. What if we start to lose our dignity as humans with our machines, and we become more violent, more cruel? People say things to each other online that they would never say to each other in person because they have anonymity. They can be cruel. They can be mean. But eventually that can somehow affect human dignity in society. The vision of a leader becomes important only when it attracts others. Visionary leaders have the right to positive change to the extent they are responsible for countering despair, fostering teamwork, or providing people with tools to think they can make a difference. Acting with integrity and compassion. One who is powerful but also has a high moral ground. Visionary leaders set a trail of good through their actions and treat people's thoughts, however different they might be from their own, with utmost consideration. And, well, this is all starting to sound a bit religious and, like all nice. But it's still, the idea is, who wants to build a better world? Who wants to build a better community? Who wants to build a better dormitory? A campus? You got to have a vision. So I need to stop and I need to let you guys get into groups. And I'm going to take the 4 over here and I'm going to build groups around each of you. Okay. So Ibrahim, would you go with Hamza? Okay. Noah, would you go with Michael Corleone? And what's your name again? Harris? Harris, okay. Do you want to come over here and sit with the 3 of them right here? Okay, the 3 of them right here. And Ibrahim, Hamza, and Mr. Harris. Okay, Harris, over there. Okay. You can sit anywhere, okay? Take a moment, the 3 of you, and do you want to come over here and sit with Kiki and Noah? Okay, so we're going to have groups of 3 spread about. So come over here for a second and sit with them. And is it all right if I pull you guys into the couches? Are you okay with that? Yeah. You're okay? Come into the couches, okay? I want to get your good minds going together. So come on in. And your name is? Masood. Okay, so Masood, come on in. Close the computers for a second, okay? Excellent. Let's get these human brains really going, okay? And it can be a tough class because we're kind of have to indulgence. And somebody's left marshmallows here today. Don't you know these are they've been touched and they're old, but I have no idea where they come from.
Yeah, I think the communications class they do an activity where they need to build a freestanding structure with one marshmallow and like
marshmallow
pieces of spaghetti.
Okay, so we have a 3 here. Okay, what's your name? Jacob, okay, Jacob. So Jacob, Noah, and Kiki, Hamza, Ibrahim, and Julian. Are you Julian Super? Oh, I didn't know that. Great question. Oh, you should have said that I'm Julian. But I think you were somewhere else. Okay, do you want to come over here and sit with the gentleman here? Great question. Yeah, here we are. Okay, thank you. And I'll handle the notes. Okay, so Jacob, you're with the three. So here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to make sure that you are now thinking about what you know. So there are no devices here right now. There's no research that you have to do. I'm going to get on the board the choices that we had from last week, and then I can add to that. But I'd like each of you in 10 minutes, the team, to come up with a new example of a visionary that we can add to that list. And I'll put that list up there, okay? So we just need to get more on that list. And then at 3:15 or so, we're going to look at that list and we're going to vote and decide which one we think would be a visionary we really want to understand more. And then we'll spend the remaining 15 or 20 minutes of the class. We'll bring the devices back and the computers back, and we'll go into ChatGPT and we'll enter some good prompts, and we'll use it as a good research tool. I promise. I don't want you to think that I'm always trying to get you off your computers. I just want to make sure we use them well, properly. So let me get that list, have a little discussion, and come up with one new choice from what you know, because you know a lot already. It's in your memory. You've watched television, you've played video games, you've seen music or listened to music, you've done a lot of work already in other classes. You have a memory. And in that memory, there's a visionary somewhere, if you think. Somebody that you think is really interesting. I want to hear who that person is. Okay, and for those of you online, I'll come back to you in a moment. I just need to get this going. All right, so I'll check in with you in 10 minutes. Okay, please go ahead.
Anyway, the person I had in mind specifically actually it's more pictures. Yeah, one of his latest actually, hardcore stuff is really just, he says, everyone there is speaking dishes, so the second was dividend the best,
Okay. Hello, Cosmos. I would like each of you to put your mind into a place right now where you are thinking your own thoughts. So, no other device to help you right now. I want your memory, just what you know. And I want to finish the activity we started last week, where we were creating a list of interesting visionaries. And then we're going to choose one. And then we're going to talk about that person. We're going to do that in the next 15 minutes or so. So, could you first, to refresh your memories, you can go to the notes from last week and you can access them in the class folder, class 6. And I have those notes open right now for everybody here. And go to the list that Sasha and Kiki began of our choices. Okay? And just take a look at that list for a moment. Does that make sense? Does everyone follow? Let's see who's in the cosmos. Good. Okay, Sasha. Good try. That's right. Good, Zubir. Good, Thurston. Just go and take a look, Daniel, and see if you could add one more name to that list, and then we're going to vote. Okay? Put that name into the live chat. Okay? Put that name into the live chat. Great. Okay, Daniel. And then we will do this together. We're going to pick one person because I really want us to have, going forwards this semester, a really interesting visionary we can talk about more in detail. Okay? So, and we're talking about a person who has imagination, creativity, wisdom, compassion, whose ideas seem doable. They're not pie in the sky ideas that are so far out that it just doesn't seem possible, but ideas that seem real and that would have a great impact for humanity. A person who's been able to communicate this in a way that we understand it. That's important. A visionary, as it was defined by one student here, Reuben Lawrence. He went into the Oxford Dictionary in a very simple way. It's a person who's planning the future with imagination or wisdom. But I would add those other qualities too. All right. So you can, if you want, you can check Reuben Lawrence's discussion post. Well, it's behind me right now, if you can read it, but you can also see it in the discussion board from class 6. You'll see Reuben Lawrence. Julian's good question at the bottom here. Is it possible that artificial intelligence becomes a visionary in the future? Julian's with us here. So should we actually put artificial intelligence as one of the visionaries, which is spooky? Anyways. And I didn't touch on Yashmin Preet. Yashmin Preet, nice post as well. Anyways, a couple more minutes, and then we're going to put Noah back on the board, and we're going to add to that, okay? Some names. Are you ready to put something there, your team? You feel you're ready? You can. You ready? It's Masu. What's the last letter? Masum. Is M. Okay, so Masum. Thanks. Okay. You know what? Do you want to go Masum and put the name there? Yeah. Go ahead and the hand is here. Just add it at the bottom. Okay, you don't have to put any details, just the name, and then we can talk about that person momentarily. Okay? You guys good? You have a name? Do you want to put it? You're already? Okay. Well, then one of you just go to the board and put the name after Masum's name. Okay? And then we'll talk about that person. Way to go. Okay, and then for final Jacob, Kiki, and Noah? Yeah? Okay, well, go ahead and put one. Tupac. Yeah. Let's see if we can find people who are alive. But he's still. Actually, I would like to know more about what he said about the world that he would like to see in the future. Did he actually talk about the world as a whole? What he wants for for humanity, what he sees, or was it more for his music? Anyway, we'll see. Okay. Malala. Nice. Okay. Sure. Okay. So we have, for those folks online right now, we're good in person here. We've got some names. Kiki is just putting one more. We're adding to that list. And Martin Gore. Okay. So, who put Tupac there? Excellent. Masoom, do you feel comfortable coming up to the podium and telling everyone why Tupac is a visionary? No? Okay. Good. That's fine. As long as you're thinking. As long as I've got your head, your brain. Okay. Can you tell us in a few words why you would say, he was quite an extraordinary individual and a musician, but what makes him a visionary?
I mean, he usually talk about in his music, like I think there was one of his songs called "So Much Pain," and he would talk about like how police brutality, how they would get treated, as well as their like the way their living conditions were. And he saw a future. He's like, hopefully in the future, we won't have to live like this.
Yes.
Anymore,
Yes.
and we'll get to live comfortably among everyone else equally.
So we would actually take seriously this idea of human equality, as opposed to sometimes it almost seems like we just pay lip service to it. We don't really mean it, but he actually was striving for that. Okay, so did he ever speak about how we might achieve that? Like what steps we might take to get further in this idea of, ultimately, Masoom, it's about human dignity, because equality is about respecting that every single person deserves to have their dignity and to be valued. So it's ultimately about human dignity. Did he ever talk about how we achieve, or what we need to do besides less violence or less cruelty? Did he talk specifically? Did he write anything, sing about anything, speak about this anywhere?
I'm not too sure about that.
Okay. Okay, no, you don't have to. Just because I think from the visionary definition that I'd like to make sure we work with, communication is a really important part of this, as well as some kind of plan. So there's an idea there, but there's also a certain sense of a plan of how we might get there, what we need to do, what decisions we need to make now to get there. So I think Tupac may not be quite ready for prime time as a visionary yet, at least here. Okay, I may be wrong, but okay, but still a very interesting choice. Okay, in over here, we'll come to Kiki and Jacob and Noah in a second. What was your choice? Okay, do you feel comfortable coming up and talking? Okay, tell us and then I will help. Okay, and then we'll go online. I see some thinking there.
So how do you fought for women's education and their rights, like I think so it's Taliban or Pakistan.
Yes.
People like they were not letting girls or females like attending schools.
Yes.
And she just fought for their rights and how women are not getting jobs and all that stuff and everything.
So Malala, if I'm sure are all of you familiar with her name? This is the young woman who also was living under the Taliban, which is a very brutal and fundamentalist government in Afghanistan. And she was attacked and shot on a bus, correct, in the head, and almost died. And then she survived, and then has become, through her own efforts. I think she went to Oxford University and she's been educated. So has she communicated anything again, is she like Tupac in the sense that she's been through stuff, and she's lived her life in a way that she has expressed a kind of a hope for humanity or something? But has she actually put forth some sort of plan that would enable there to be no more repression of women, young women in Afghanistan, or women who are brutalized by oppressive male-centered governments? Because the Taliban has zero respect for a woman's desire to be free, right? We're talking about a very strict system. So has she put a plan together that would, or he, okay. Has she spoken about a vision that includes all of humanity, or is it a vision that includes essentially just young women who are stuck, tragically, still under the Taliban, who've returned to government and are even more brutal now? Has she talked about Canadian women, French, Japanese, or is it? So her.
Women to work and they're telling they should treat men and women equally, whether it's working or in school, treat them with respect.
It sounds like she and Tupac have a similar vision. Not bad one at all, but I'm not so sure she should be right on the list now. I'm trying to be a little tougher in our choices to make sure that when we pick somebody, we're going to pick somebody who's universal, who has some kind of universal, like a religious prophet almost. Think of Nelson Mandela's influence. I mean, we all know, but think of how he kind of spoke to humanity. His cause was taken up, by many countries, and he spoke to all of us somehow. And so that's why we all remember him. We need somebody whose ideas are reaching at that level, universal almost. Okay, this is not easy. All right, let's keep Kiki or Jacob. Do you want to come up and explain Martin Gore? Come and explain who Martin Gore is exactly, Kiki. Okay, and then we're going to vote soon. We'll go online and we'll take a look at what. Yeah.
So Martin Gore is the main lyricist of the band Depeche Mode. I chose him because honestly, the lyrics he writes include a lot of wisdom about humanity, and they cover topics that are maybe less savory to talk about, like sex, faith, life, death.
Do you have any of his lyrics you can?
One that I wanted to quote specifically, yes, from a song called Get Right With Me. Life is such a short thing that I cannot comprehend. But if this life were a bought thing, there are ways I'm sure we'd mend.
We would mend if.
Yes.
Say that again.
If this life were a bought thing.
A bought thing?
There are ways I'm sure we'd mend.
I think I might have liked him because I'm wearing my Repair Cafe Toronto shirt today. I like fixing and mending. I'll tell you all about that.
So do I. I worked in a cell phone repair shop.
Did you? Well, my wife and I feel like we've started the Repair Cafe Toronto. It's a big Toronto. I'm going to tell you all about it. Repair Cafe, yeah, I can show you. But what else did he speak about in terms of this idea of fixing, mending, and dealing with broken? Did he talk about a broken world, or did he ever sing about that idea of a broken world, broken people, you
He
know,
has
struggling to
plenty of
mend
times,
themselves,
yeah.
fix themselves? I'll bet he did.
In let's see, in Poor Man, this is one of their more recent songs. Poor Man it's very direct and to the point. The chorus I know is corporations get the breaks, keeping almost every cent they make. Just how long is it going to take before it trickles down? When will it trickle down?
We all have to deal with corporations.
We do.
In every part of the world, for better or for worse. We all have to deal with fixing something for better or for worse. In fact, I'll give you a wonderful line from a singer I like, who's now no longer with us. You may have heard of him, a Canadian singer named Leonard Cohen. He was a poet.
Mm-hmm.
And Leonard Cohen said, "Only where there's a crack can the light get in." Think about how meaningful that is. When things are broken, when there's a crack, that's when you can bring in the light. But if the thing is perfect and it's all smooth, it's dead. There's no light can get into this. You can sit on it, but once something is cracked, light can get in, it's alive. And when it's alive, it can be fixed and made better. But if it's all smooth and perfect, it's not alive. Only where there's a crack can the light get in. Only where we're broken as individuals
can we be fixed.
Or as Ernest Hemingway once said, broken in all the right places. So a world in which we're not afraid of being broken. That's what they're often saying. A world in which we're not afraid to be vulnerable and to let the light in is very religious. This is a vision for humanity that is very important. Okay, anything else about, we need to vote in a moment because we have some others on the list. Martin Gore, and we have Daniel Sinclair that's writing here, and a few others. So I want to make sure we can vote, but okay. Kiki, thank you very much, okay, for coming up and for...
I know so many lyrics, it was hard to narrow down to.
Yeah, well, you chose a very interesting and wise person, but there's a lot of wisdom here. Now, in the chat here, let me just make sure I'm not getting all messed up here. I don't want to keep looking at myself. I want to look at your great words here. So we'll bring this back, and we'll bring that back, and we'll bring that back, and now we have our configuration. Okay, so here we have, okay, we've had Martin Luther King. Yep, he always pops up. So I think the two that we need to talk about, Ashwin and Daniel. Ashwin, are you able to jump on your microphone? Daniel Sinclair. Oh, let's see a new message here. No? Okay. So I feel like Mr. Beast, also known as, I think there's some people who know him. Is he in a cage? Is he a cage fighter or something like that? No? He's a rich guy? Would you think he's a visionary, Harris? No. Okay. He's off the list. Harris has said no. He's off the list. Okay. No, Ashwin, we need to make some choices. Okay. So for the moment, we'll put him off for the list. This is just about thinking things through. We don't have to have the perfect people on this. Daniel, can you jump on your microphone at all?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Beautiful. Okay, Daniel, could you just read your post, and then we need to vote in a moment. So go ahead.
Okay, so I said I think Gary Vanderchuk because he's a marketing genius who saw the possibility of what smartphones and social media could do for people as a form of communication and engagement for businesses and their future and actual customers. And he also heavily advocates for human social connection, even though he's in the social marketing space. He believes that it is important to have human interaction, and he also tries his best to inspire people from all walks of life that whatever it is that they do, that they want to do, that they can do it, because he also has a humble background.
Excellent. And where can we hear him or read him communicating to us? Are there places we can go, a website or something, to hear him speak?
Yes, he's on Instagram. I recently saw an interview actually, and that's what made me kind of think of him. He was on an interview with another social media page, but I don't think you want to pull up his interview because he uses very colorful words.
That's
But
okay, as
he,
long as
yeah,
he's, for the moment, it's I can handle it, and it's all right for this class, as long as there's some real deep insight in there. Let's just put his name into YouTube for a moment, okay, and see what comes up.
okay,
So, is that him right there? Oh, just
yes,
a second. Can you see him behind
yes,
me
he's
right
on
now?
the right. He's on the
He's on
right.
the right. Okay. So, here's my question. I'm going to ask a tough question. Is he essentially just an influencer, or is
N-
he a visionary? Because an influencer, I mean, they're a dime a dozen right now. They're all over. But we're talking about big, deep thinkers who have a lot of imagination, and they're not interested in making a lot of money necessarily. They've got a vision that everyone seems to get. Is this an influencer who just speaks to his sort of club of people and that's it, or does he speak to a lot of people and he has a big imagination? What do you think?
I would say he had a big, well, he has a big imagination because he saw what the possibilities of what we're facing today. He saw like the opportunities of the things that we are now indulging in today from whenever smartphones were originally created. So I would say, and he's continuing to find another innovative way of doing things. So I think that he is somewhat of a visionary.
And he seems a little, maybe it's because he's wearing the hat, but now I look a little closer, he is a bit older. I thought maybe he's too young, because I was going to ask, when did he have this vision that you've described? Was it, just a couple years ago, or was it 20 years ago, 30 years ago?
I can't recall, but I just remember seeing him from the interview.
Okay. Because one of the things about a visionary that's important is they're ahead of their time.
Mm.
They're
I
seeing
think he
things
was.
coming. They can articulate what's ahead. And I'm wondering if maybe he's not really ahead. He's part of many influencers who feel the same. Maybe not. I may be wrong. I'm just trying to prod you a little bit with tough questions. Why don't we put him on the list finally? Okay, Noah, could you just write? This would be Gary, and could you just spell it for us, Daniel?
So it's Vaynerchuk.
Okay, go ahead. I used to love when the camera's working. It would be working after the break. I would have global classes with people joining from different countries, and there would be a person in, I don't know, Bangladesh or China or France, and they're telling the person on the board how to spell something. And what you see on YouTube is you see a student here writing out and what the person out there in another country is telling him to write, to spell. Look, kind of interesting. Okay, so can you spell it for Noah? Right again? Sorry, his Gary. Oh, Daniel. That's who gave us Jordan Peele, I think, last week, right, Daniel?
Yes,
That
yes, I
you?
did.
Okay, so Daniel's giving us now a new one too. Great, same Daniel. Uh, and so right now Noah is writing, and he's waiting for you to spell it again. Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
So it's Vaynerchuk.
GayN.
V. I'm spelling the last name.
Okay, Gary.
Yeah.
So it's Gary. Gary is the first name, and then the last name, which is the mouthful. This is the tough one.
Yes. Yes,
Okay, so
yes.
good. You spell it again for Noah. I'll listen too.
Okay, it's Vaynerchuk.
N-E-R. Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
No worries.
Okay, so what we're going to do for just the last 5 minutes, and then we're going to conclude. We need to vote. We got to finish the class. I want to get a visionary so that when we go into the second half of the semester, we're going to have this person that we can return to and talk about in more detail. Right now, we're just choosing somebody. We're going to learn a lot more about this person in the second half of the semester with some of the other topics too that I will be lecturing on. So hopefully I really will have the tech support then, and we can have a great class in here. So everyone, let me just come back here for a second and bring this down so I can make this look good in the way that I have everything configured. And that is, I want to shrink that. Oh, it may not quite work, but at least I can do something like this. Bring our video conference in, bring that in, and who's there online? Okay, so I can't see everything there. So for all of you online right now, please listen, because I'm going to ask you to put your choice in the live chat momentarily, okay? So let me see if this, I can get, oh, here we go. Come on, that's it. That's, work with me, tech. That's it. That's it. So I can see everybody and they can see. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we have Ashwin, Daniel, Karandeep, Tharsan, and Zubir online. We have everyone here. I am going to read these names one time. You just listen, okay? And then I'm going to ask each of you to raise your hand only for one person. That's your choice. You can only choose one person. And let's see who gets the most votes, and then we're going to conclude the class. So the visionaries that we put together a little list over the last 2 classes. We started to explore this idea of what is a visionary. We've touched on some important characteristics of what a visionary is. And we've brainstormed a list, and now we're going to make a choice. So I want you to, as I read these names out, just think if you can remember who they were and what they did. If you can't, don't worry. You may remember something, but you may already have an idea of who you want on this list. What we want is one person. We want one person that we finish the class with today. So the people that we're choosing from right now: David Suzuki, Jordan Peele. Matthew Patrick is a question mark, but our professor, please feel no pressure to choose me. Choose whoever you want. I'm not expecting anybody. Don't. Choose who you feel is necessary. Malala Yousaf. Oh, I've never been able to pronounce her last name because she's always known as Malala. Okay. Anyways, how do you pronounce it? Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai. Yeah. Aldous Huxley. No, if Adam's still with us. Dan Hauser. Tupac. Martin Gore. And Gary Vaynerchuk, who just came in with a good explanation from Daniel St. Clair. And Daniel has 2 ones there. Probably Daniel is going to vote for one that he's chosen because he may find it's hard not to. He has 2 choices there. Try to do your best to choose who you ultimately feel from all of these people is the best, because you may find that the one you like, there's somebody else that you like even better. But Daniel, if you end up voting for the one you put there, no problem, okay? You only have one choice. Yes. So I know I just haven't quite learned how to use that. I'll learn it for the second. Okay. Let me learn on the fly from the students. So I'm going to do it. Okay, here we go. Poll. So then come on up. Let's see. Maybe we'll do it this way. But I like to do this in person. Does this mean everybody has to go online?
Bro, my big ass head and
I
like.
like to do it with the hand up. I want to see people. But let's see. Okay. Go ahead. Do you have to write in all of their names?
Yeah.
Oh, too much time. Forget it.
Forget
Don't
it.
worry, forget it. It's going to take too much time. I don't want to put the pressure on. Let's just do it the old way, which is now I'm going to ask you. I'm going to give the names and I'm going to see some hands. But I'm going to learn how to use this for the future, assume. Thank you. Okay. So let us come back for a moment. I want to just keep him up here. Not that he will be our final choice, but so here we go. David Suzuki. Well, definitely. Could you put a line through his name, please? David Suzuki is deleted, but we're not going to get rid of him. We're just going to delete him or at least a strike through. Okay. So let me. Oh, this is such a pain in the but I won't touch this anymore. Okay. So, okay. I'm not going to click on there. I'm just going to scroll, which doesn't. So nothing in the line. So David Suzuki is definitely Jordan Peele. Oh, Daniel Sinclair has a hand. 1. Could you just put 1, the number 1 beside that? Exactly. 1 person. I don't think he's going to make the cut here, Daniel, but good try. Daniel, was I correct in responding to your hand for Jordan Peele? Was that what your hand was?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, good. Matthew Patrick. Could we put a line through Matthew Patrick as well? And I'm going to say put a line through Jordan Peele too. He's not going to make it. Okay. I don't want anybody to feel pressure to say me in any way. So just put a line through me for now. Okay. I'm not part of this. Okay. Well, but I don't want you to feel, but I know you probably mean it. I just don't want you to feel like you have to, but I appreciate the sentiment, and it matters to me. I know you mean it. Thank you, Harris. Thank you, Zubir from the other class. But we're not going to include me for now. All right. Malala, you can still vote for someone else. Okay. So Malala, as a visionary for a world that is in the future that we want to work towards, who's articulated a world that gives us hope, and we see that vision. We want it. We're going to work towards it. Oh, strike through from Malala. Oh boy, this is interesting. I think I know where this may be going, but I'm not going to say Aldous Huxley. No, I put a strike through. I barely spoke about him, even though it was a good choice. I didn't want to. Okay, so now we're getting down to some Dan Hauser. Strike through. Well. We've got these 3: Tupac, Martin Gore, and Gary Vaynerchuk. 2 of them are musicians. One of them is a, I'm not going to know. He's got vision. Tupac. Strike through. Wow. Gary Vaynerchuk. Strike through. I think Kiki just won the day. It's, Martin Gore. Wait a minute. Maybe not. Who? Just one. Jacob, did you vote? You have to vote. Everybody. Julian, did you put your hand up? No. Hamza? No. Ibrahim, you did. Yeah. Masoom did. Definitely Tupac. Harris, you can make another choice. This could be deciding. You're going to go for Tupac? Mr. Corleone is putting some pressure on you with a weapon now, Scarface. Al Pacino.
It won't be Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah? 2-pack? Okay, 2-pack gets 2. Let's see what's happening online. I think Zupier and Tharson and Kieran Deep, we need to make our final choice, and we're down to our final. Oh, 2-pack. Ashwin's 2-pack. We got 2-pack flying. No, Tharson's Martin. Okay, so hold on. Here we go. So another for 2-pack, 2 more for 2-pack takes it to 4. Takes it to 4 for 2-pack. Martin Gore, and that would add for Kiki's Martin Gore 1, 2 for Martin Gore. Kieran Deep, I think Kieran Deep has stepped out for a late lunch. He's gone. Kieran Deep is gone for. In the old days, it would be a smoke, a cigarette, but Kieran Deep has disappeared. He's gone to visit another galaxy. He's gone. Okay, so Ashwin, it's looking to me like we're going to have to resurrect 2-pack in the second half of the semester and really drill down with this guy. What made him? And it's not a bad choice. I want to hear more about what he actually had to say about humanity. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made a choice going into our break. We've been as fair as we could, and we've been decisive. And in the end, our visionary right now, who is going to remain with us into the second half, is none other than 2-pack. Was it Shakur? Was that his last name?
Yeah.
2-pack Shakur, if I remember, because I was alive when he was killed. I remember that. Yeah.
Did you like his music?
Yeah, I don't know his music that well, but I liked his courage, and I thought he was a very intelligent guy. But I don't know his music that well, I'm assuming. But I knew of him. Okay, so let's be honest here. So we'll learn more in the second half. Okay, everybody. So listen, we can conclude. We have our visionary going into the second half, and I'm going to bring more to you then. Enjoy the break. The strike is over. Things are going to be back to normal. I look forward to your first assignments. I'll be working hard over the next few days, getting your midterm. Yes.
If you're just going to be completely no classes for like Monday to Friday.
Yes. No classes. It's reading week, midterm break. So you're set. You can not come to the campus. Okay, have a good break. Take care. Thank you, everybody. Always enjoy to come into this class and enjoy our future with you. Get ready for 2-pack. Second half of the semester. We'll play his music, and we'll really start bringing some music in and play the music. Yeah. Depeche Mode's from kind of like the 70s or 80s, aren't they? 80s. Wow, you're getting into my growing up years.
I mean, they've been my favorite band for years. But
I like what I didn't realize that Martin Gore had this kind of bigger thinking, going on. Yeah.
It only got bigger like since he took over as the writer. Like he started very slowly, but I mean, they just released a new album in 2023 after one of their bandmates died, and it was very insightful.
That's great. Hold on a second. I just want to end this, and then I just want to mention something to you before you go, okay? But I just want to get this live chat going. I'm going to stop the live stream.